April 2020. It was a time when we were in lockdown. But there was one big opportunity that was thriving, and it was the gaming industry. Now, a lot of our friends, we used to play Fortnite together every single Friday. Sometimes it goes a little bit like this. Yo, what's up, man? Okay, hold on. I'm just connecting to the game. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see two people, just two people left. Yep. I'm taking one of them. Gosh, this guy hasn't touched grass in 2 years, bro. What's going on? Why is it so hard to beat him? Yep. Okay, play it down. I'm about to rush the other guy. You have to take his wall. Come on. 60? Yes! Come on! That's a 10th victory royale, bro. That's a 10th victory royale. In fact, let me just post it on LinkedIn, because we're going to use it for teamwork, consistency, and determination. Let's go. Yeah, definitely posting that on LinkedIn. Also showing teamwork as well, and consistency. Very important. That was typical game. You used to play that every single time. In fact, we can't stop playing Fortnite. We started playing GCSE, and we continued all the way up until A-level, and even our first year at university. But there was a certain point when something didn't feel right. Yo, hello. Hi. I know I haven't played with you in like 2 years now. Yeah, how's your day been? Yeah, I know, it's just been really hard, and I know I have a lot of coursework due in on Monday, and well, what happened? Notice that I didn't feel that much energy compared to GCSE. In fact, in that moment, I actually started developing a bad habit. I started talking to myself. I started talking to myself when my friends are not around with me. So I disconnected from the game. But I felt like I disconnected from my old friends. Now, when you're at university, you meet new people. And everyone wants to be friends with them. Oh, I want to be friends with you. No, we'll be friends for life. But I think the sentence, let's be friends, that's the most misunderstood sentence for connection. But yet, there is a solution. There's a solution that is in a cycle. A cycle that begins with 3 phases: connecting fully, disconnecting gracefully, and friendships can and will always stick around. So I want to look at the first phrase, and that is connecting fully. Now I have a question for you. How many of you here in this audience have met a friend or made a new friend or made a new connection? Hands up. Yeah, nearly all of us. It's inevitable you'll meet a new person at university. But if you want to make that connection and that friendship spark, you need 3 things. You need time, you need your energy, and your presence. It's like a fire. You need fuel, heat, and oxygen. You remove one of them, the fire goes out. In the same way, if you don't have time, energy, and presence, all 3 together, that friendship's not going to work. I can give you 3 examples. You may have so much time on your hands, and you give out so much energy. Let's say you're in a night out, and you're trying to impart that energy towards your friends. However, your friends just ignore you. They don't want you around. They don't sense your presence. Second example, let's say you have the time to meet with your friends, and your presence is there, your presence is acknowledged, but you fail to give that energy within that social event. and therefore that night doesn't feel memorable. You may be a person that has a lot of presence and a lot of energy and people know you well, but you fail to make that time to spend with them. Maybe because you have other important things to do, or you just can't be asked. And that's kind of like the most common problem. So it goes to show how connecting fully requires your time, your energy, and your presence. But you may be wondering, what about my old connections? What about the connections I've made when I was at school, when I was in sixth form? How did I devote my time, my energy, and my presence? See, that can dwindle over time when you progress through your later years in life. That old connection starts to fade. And that's when it becomes inevitable into phase 2, disconnecting fully. Disconnecting gracefully, my bad. So what do I mean by disconnecting gracefully? Well, let's take the root word of graceful. See, disconnecting with your friends is the most painful things in life. There's a principle where the more you spend time with your friends, the more memories you build with each other, the more painful the disconnection. It's real, and it's true. I felt that quite a lot, especially when I was in secondary school and moving into cross sixth form. I spent 7 years with a friend that I know very well, very, very well. And the moment we got A-level results and parted ways, that was really painful. Very, very painful. And even in your new connections, it's inevitable that you spend 3, 4, 5 years at university. The moment you graduate, you move on to different career paths. That will be eventually painful. So, what do you do in that moment? What do you do in a disconnection? Well, it's a fight or flight question. In fact, the real question is, do you want to fight for your friendship? Or you just have to let it go? See, the best way to kind of gracefully disconnect is to always talk with that person. Always try and see if both parties want to continue on with that friendship. Because friendships, it's like you're in a boat, and that boat will sail into a new destination. And sometimes you may have to leave the boat and venture on a new journey. But there's always the inevitability that the third phase is going to happen. Friendships can and will always stick around. See, I've listened to a podcast from Jay Shetty, and there was a podcast where he mentioned quite an interesting fact. He said that 75% of your time with friends should actually be one-to-one, whereas the 25% of the friendships should be in a group. So it's this idea where, spending time with your friends should be more one-to-one. Now, I'm not trying to dismiss the idea of group friendships. I think group friendships are, done right. They can bring so much energy and so much vibes and a lot of aura into the social venue. But what I'm trying to say is, sometimes in life, we should be more of a candle than a firework. The candle that burns when you're with one friend next to you. You share your vulnerabilities, you share your emotions, you share what's going on inside your head. After all, we're not kind of mind readers. We need to share what's really going on. And it comes back in a cycle where you may have bumped into a friend you haven't met in years. You just dispersed, and then all of a sudden you just suddenly meet, maybe back in your hometown, or someone you just met in a random street. It's always this inevitability that friendships is always in a cycle. Which brings me back to the conclusion, the loop. Connecting fully, disconnecting gracefully, and friendships can and will always stick around. You will soon meet the people you spend time at university. You'll soon meet them one day. The people you've met during high school, maybe even primary school, you'll meet with them one day back at home. And I want you to understand that. See, I want to connect with my friends. You guys want to connect with your friends. We all want to connect. And that actually brings me back to my Nintendo Switch. Hello? Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I know I haven't spoken to you so many times, but I'm sorry for the times I've missed opportunity to speak with you. Yeah, I don't mind meeting, when I come back to my hometown, I don't mind meeting you again. Yeah, we can meet at the park, maybe the park before we separated from university. I don't mind that. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. All right, see you there, man. So that's my story. Connecting fully, disconnecting gracefully, and friendships always stick around. Thank you.